certainly wasn't as good as it needed to be because we weren't as physical as we needed to be. We also missed open shots. That if they go down, all of a sudden that confidence changes a little bit on the road, and maybe it's a different story. But the bottom line, and I know I've said this ad nauseum, but it's the truth. We can't get our confidence from our offense. That's easier said than done. But you can't get your confidence from your offense. You got to get it from your toughness, from your physicality, from your ability to defend and rebound. And that's a process. It's a rare team that can do that at a very high level and do it consistently. I know that. Our coaches know that. Our team doesn't know that. And our fans need to remember that. But the bottom line is that takes time to get. But that's certainly the process that we're trying to build it under.
You talked about watching the film. Do you feel like they are kind of recognizing and seeing things on their own when they watch film, and not just stuff that's pointed out by the staff, but them processing it the way they need to?
I think it's our job to give them a perspective, and then I think it's their job to accept it, to absorb it. So it'd be one thing if we came in and watched the film, and we're just looking for every bit of negative. That's not what we're doing, because there were some opportunities. And again, you don't accept in victory what you won't accept in defeat. Well, sometimes in defeat, you've got to find some positives in there where they can say, hey, if this goes right and that goes right, and we don't take this shot or we get this stop, there's the potential of something different. And I do think they're getting that. But again, we've got to exhibit it. And again, it goes back to this team has got to play on edge. It's got to play. We cannot turn the ball over, and we're turning the ball over too much right now. There's no way around that, and we've got to cut those down because those turn into easy baskets for the other team. It eliminates what we have in a very good offensive team from being able to get more shots. And again, there's always a lot of things that you can get better at, but us taking care of the ball on offense, us being a little bit more aware and alert on defense, and us making sure that our rebounding is really strong on both ends are the keys for us.
What were the positives that you took out of the game?
Oh, how close. A couple things. I'll give you an example. A shot before, I think it's 18 to 10, okay? We make one more pass. All of a sudden we hit a 2 or we hit a 3. Well, that's a 5-point game, okay, or a 6-point game. Even with that said, it gets to 20-12. We miss a wide-open 3 at the top of the key, okay? Now, we hit that 3. And all of a sudden it's 20-15, we're coming down with a set defense. We miss that 3, they come down, it's 22-12. It's little things like that. You've got to show your team the game within the game, or the games within the game. And we always break it down, certainly, I mean, in football it's special teams, but you can look at the situational things, the baseline out of bounds, the sideline out of bounds, the after timeout games. But it's more than that. It's the sequence of the game. And we've got to understand where the next pass is. We've got frankly, we passed up some shots in that game. I was as angry about that as anything else. We've got to continue to take open shots, not take challenge ones. And sometimes when that ball stops and it's not moving, we get a little stuck. And we've got to overcome that. But again, so much of that comes because our confidence is coming from the offensive end, and that's not going to be the way it is, especially when you go on the road.
You guys were able to get energy from your defense from most of the non-conference season, a lot of those games.
Sure.
Are you being attacked differently? Are there things that you guys are doing, like not
from the defense?
Yeah.
Well, the other day was a little different. The other day was different than the Minnesota game. The Minnesota game, we just seemed like a step slow on plays. We weren't reading screens and getting out on people, and we just weren't as locked in defensively. The other day is a hard game because you're not just going to guard Jared Sullinger one-on-one. I think you guys saw what happens when you do that. Right. And inside of the game plan, the shots that Smith had, I said this last night, Smith had a raw day, like he had for us against Penn State. He only made 1 3 out that was on the game plan. That was okay, this is the game plan, and he hit it. And we were late at getting out off of a double team. The rest, he got off kickouts and offensive rebounds, the break, and some things like he played well. So when you're playing against a team like that that's got so many scores, your margin for error goes down, which means your urgency's got to go up. And they were really aggressive with us on offense. When we were on offense, we didn't handle that as well. But we outscored them in the second half. That's not a moral victory, but that's when we're an aggressive and an attack mindset like we were maybe the last 10, 11 minutes of that game, and our pressure started to turn. Now, were they playing at the same level? Probably not. They had a big lead. That's part of it too. But we showed the ability to be aggressive, and even inside of that, we missed some opportunities of guys that usually make those shots, and a couple times we should have made the next pass. So I'm going to finish this. So are we being played different? I think every team is going to play you differently. Some are going to have the zone. Some are going to trap the post one way. They're going to trap the post another way. They're going to three-quarter the post. They're going to play behind the post. The key is how you adjust to the game. But the one constant is people in this league are going to get up and guard you, and you're going to have to guard basically all five on the other team. And that's not always the way it is in the non-conference. You know, the non-conference, now Kentucky and Notre Dame and Butler and NC State, now they're going to put five guys on the court all the time we have to guard. But not everybody else has that. But we just, our urgency wasn't there. And then all of a sudden, you're like a split second, a second late, and people in this league can make you pay for that.
How important was it from a confidence standpoint at the end of a second straight loss for them to have some success and start making some shots?
Maybe. But again, this thing still comes down to the start. And not the start on how you play, but the start on how you approach it. And Ohio State did a good job of establishing in this game their aggressiveness, how the game was going to be dictated from the officiating standpoint. And we didn't do as good a job of that. And basically 2 weeks earlier, we pretty much did the same thing. You know, I mean, again, that game, we had foul trouble too. You know, we lost Cody. You try to do your best to adjust to how it's being called. But the other day, we didn't come out and play enough with that aggressiveness. But again, some of it's the maturity of understanding that you've got to continue. And we have really tried to work on that, again, to really just make huge examples and emphasis on you've got to continue to get stops even when things aren't going right offensively.
Talk a little bit. How different a team is Nebraska with Diaz and Talley back on the line?
Oh, much different, much more inside oriented, and there's still the ability of inside out, and you have to bring somebody else there because he's just too big, and he catches the ball usually with at least 1 foot in the paint, and he's not scoring a lot of points yet, but there's a lot of touches, and you've got to do a great job of trying to eliminate those touches in the post, and I can see what they're talking about with Talley. Made me feel like he's their best shooter because when I saw something said today, well, he's not back yet where he needs to be, but he looks pretty good to me. But Spencer's like Frazier from Penn State. He can create tremendous havoc in the break with getting to the basket. He's a very good shooter. McCray is one of those who do you guard him with type of guys. He can get to the rim. He can shoot threes. He can pick and pop. He can post up. They're a good team. I mean, they're a really good team. I don't think in this league right now, whether you're on the top or on the bottom, anybody can get caught up in anybody's record because it is a very good league.
Cody made
one more question.
the Wood Award list. Just your thoughts.
I just saw that. JD showed me that. I think that's great. I mean, I think that's great. I think he's that's such a prestigious list. There's no doubt about that, and I think that says a lot. I don't know how many other rookies are on that list, but for him to be out of it, 3 rookies. I think that 3 of the top 25. Yeah, it says a lot. Deservedly so. Go ahead. We got a couple more than they're just finishing up.
In terms of his defense, he's seen a lot of good post players early in the Big Ten, Morgan and Sullinger twice. I mean, where do you think he's kind of come in the first 6 games, and what is he up to?
Well, I think when he's allowed to play, he's pretty good. I mean, what I hate to see with somebody like him is that the game is called real nitpicky with him. I mean, he's doing a good job with his positioning, with getting up. He's getting his hands up. I think he's doing a very good job of adjusting to it. But he's given up. I mean, that's a big difference size-wise between Cody and Jared Sullinger the other day. I mean, that's just part of it. I mean, Jared Sullinger's an outstanding player, but he's given up. He doesn't have all that strength yet. So I think the quickness really serves him well. The anticipation and awareness really serves him well.
You talked before when you talked about Matt Roth about him sort of being other teams kind of attacking him on defense and him kind of rising up against that and getting better, I guess, in that vein. Have you seen teams start to attack Jordy that way? What do you think he can do to get?
Oh, I think Jordan. Yeah, I don't think there's any question. Jordan needs to slow down. Jordan needs to change direction, change pace. Those are the kind of things that he needs to do, and not get himself rushed. And he needs to play through mistakes. He needs to play through a missed shot. He needs to play through a missed free throw, and not let those things contribute to the next thing, because he's going to play. So he doesn't have to sit there and worry about those things. But when Jordan is really focused on moving the ball, when he's focused on keeping his man in front of him, when he's ready to shoot, and he passed up numerous opportunities the other day. And that was one of the first things said to him after the game. Christian passed up opportunities the other day. Now, we don't want the challenge ones, but the open ones, we're talking about a guy that's in the high 40s, low 50s. And Jordan's even higher than that. So if three-point shooting is one of our strengths, let's take the 3. But the best thing is when we can get it on penetration, and get it out, or we can get it from side to side, or most importantly, get it in the post. Because we've got a couple guys that command a lot of attention when they get it there too. So that's what it is more than anything else. Is he getting pressured? Yeah. When the ball moves, when the screens are good, it doesn't matter what the pressure is. When the ball doesn't move, you can bring in about anybody, and they're going to be able to keep guys. Now, I said this the other day. We didn't get rewarded for our cutting the other day, like we have in certain games. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to stop. We'll just come a little harder and keep moving. And that's the bottom line.
Defensively, though, what does he need to do? I mean,
defensively? Keep his chest in front of the ball. Is that what you asked? Or you asked
that was really what I meant. You've seen him getting attacked on the defensive end.
I thought you said on offense. I'm sorry. Chest in front. Chest in front of the ball. Anticipation. Better job on ball screens. Using his awareness and his quickness on the help side. But the bottom line is chest in front of the ball, cutting people's ankles. That's the biggest thing with him.
How about with Victor? What does he need to do a little more?
Victor needs to play with the same fundamentals defensively that he does in practice, and stay locked in, not take chances, not leave his feet, not gamble. And he doesn't gamble as much. He's really cut that back. But when Vic's got his hands up, Vic's over 10 deflections a game, and that's tremendous. So when you have that, I've only coached a couple guys that have been over 10, and the bottom line, when those hands are up and he's active and he's reading screens, but it's when he's late and he leaves his feet, he lets a guy out of an area. It's very hard to score against Vic when he's got you in a box. But when he lets you play because he's left his feet or because he was late getting there, well, he's usually guarding one of the best players, and then that hurts us. So he's got to carry his fundamentals defensively to the game from practice more.
Nebraska defends the three really, really well, and that's your strength. What do you guys have?
They do, but I also see teams that miss some shots.
Yeah.
So I think I see the same numbers you see. I see what it is in the conference. I see what it is in the last 3 games. We're not going to focus on that. What we're going to focus on is movement. When the ball's moving and bodies are moving, that's really important. But again, if we don't drop our shoulder and drive the ball, if we don't get the ball in the post and play out of that, then we're our own worst enemy at the 3-point line. But we just need to play the way we play, and we need to turn it up on the defensive end.
It's like just to play a new team in the league, I guess. I mean, does this still kind of feel like a non-conference game or no?
No, I think because we've watched them now, and because there's been enough time. I mean, it'll be different because I don't know if the other. I know Benny's been there, Steve's been there, I've been there. I don't know if all the other guys have been there, and the players haven't. It'll be a little different there, but they're doing a great job of getting locked into who they are and how they play, and I think that's good. They run a lot of similar things to what Kansas would run, and again, I've said it before. I mean, I think Doc's an excellent coach, and he's got his system, and he's from that tree of guys that they play a certain way with the 2 game and with the stuff they do in their half-court offense and with the way they defend, and so it doesn't. It just feels like it's the next game, and it's a team that we've really worked hard to make sure we learn in a short period of time.
Thanks, Coach.
Good? All right.